All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your Wednesday evening with me. I'm really excited to be sharing this information with y'all about gathering and hosting. Holiday season is right around the corner, so I hope that some of these tidbits will come in handy. Give me just a second here. Y'all pray for me. I'm going to try to share my screen. Um, I'm not always the best at this.
You
So
can do it.
thank you. Also would be interested to know what chapters y'all are coming from checking in. So if you are a member of the Hughes Society and you're a member of one of the chapters, just drop that in the chat. Or if you want to turn your camera on for a second and just say hi, that's fine as well. Where's the share screen button? Oh, here we go. Okay, share. No, I don't think that's what I wanted to do. Hold on. Okay, someone who's good with these things, when I hit share, do I have to share the whole thing or can I just share a piece of something? Like, what is it showing you right now? Is it showing you my entire screen?
Yeah, I see your whole screen and your background computer home screen.
Okay, now if I do this and just go ahead and put this on present, ting, it's just showing this.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. But can y'all see me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right. So we're good to go. All the things, all the things. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how we gather, hosting with intention. Like I said before, really excited to be sharing this because holidays are right around the corner and also hosting happens all the time. So I'm hoping that some of these tidbits will kind of help you to up your hosting game or maybe just refresh. You probably are already an amazing host. So, yeah. All right. Hi, I'm Trent. I am a creative, an entrepreneur, and a host. I'm also the co founder of Babe Wine Bar, which is a queer wine bar based out of Brooklyn, New York. We currently operate as a pop up. We are fundraising to open a physical space, but right now we're in residency at Ace Hotel in Brooklyn. And this is my latest hosting venture. I've had many. So, if you're wondering why I'm here or how I got into hosting, I mentioned in a video that I shared on my Instagram yesterday that I have been doing this essentially since I was a child. This is me here on the screen right now as a child doing my thing. Thanks to this person here. This is my grandmother, Pat Presley. She raised me, and every major holiday at our home, we would host anywhere from about 50 to 100 people. And my grandmother would cook a huge meal for folks. We had a small church in the back of our house. So there would be a church service, there would be a meal, and there would be fellowshipping. And we did this for every major holiday of the year. So as soon as I was able to start walking, I was in the kitchen or on hosting duty or cleaning up plates or doing whatever I could to help around the house. The event that we did at our house was called the House of Love. My grandmother wanted it to be a place where pretty much anyone who didn't have some place for the holidays could go. So she drove the bus. She would invite people from her bus route. She also did a lot of missionary work around town. So she would invite people from nursing homes, people from her church groups, people from rescue missions, as I shared before, pretty much anyone who needed some place to be that felt like home for the holidays. And these are some of the pictures from some of the gatherings that we had at the house. When my grandmother passed, I decided that I kind of wanted to carry the mental on a bit myself, and I started the holding space in 2019. I wanted it to very much emulate what I grew up doing. So, feeding people, cooking for people, bringing people together to have a moment to fellowship, to do something that just felt like home and to meet new people. And it was a beautiful time. It happened right before the pandemic. And so when the pandemic happened, I didn't really feel a need to pivot, even though I know that many of us were craving connection. But the whole point of the holding space was that I wanted to bring people together in spaces that felt very intimate and comfortable and cozy. Um, so that was the holding space. After the holding space, I started hosting when outside opened back up. I started hosting cocktail mixers and bourbon tastings. They were called Craft and Key and Nice and Neat. And this was also another opportunity to just bring people together, teach people how to do something that most of us like to do, but not just do something, but how to create something that was delicious and beautiful and special. And after Crafting Key and Nice and Neat, I took a little bit of a break from hosting and doing anything that really had to do with food and beverage. And last year, I jumped back in, and that was how Babe Wine Bar came to be. And I run Babe Wine Bar with my business partner, Ren Peer. It is a queer wine bar concept based out of Brooklyn. We bring in queer sommeliers to serve the wines. We're very thoughtful about the wines that we serve. And we usually do it on a weeknight because why not? All right. So, what does it mean to be intentional? This part felt very important to me because I think intention and intentional is a word that we hear a lot. Thank God for the internet. But language, I think, is very important. I love the word intention. I love the word intentional because it does have a very, to me, weighty meaning. Intention is clarity, and intention is purpose. So I think a good example of intention, something that we can kind of use to break it down to our everyday lives would be texting, right? I feel like there's a big difference between getting a text that says, you can come to this thing if you want to, versus, hey, I'm having this thing. I would really love it if you came through. Let me know. And I think we all have gotten some kind of version of either one of those texts. When I get the you can come if you want to text, I'm not going. Most of the time, I'm not going because you can come if you want to sounds it feels very unintentional. It feels very much like, I guess it feels uncertain. And I feel like uncertainty is an answer. I prefer the second text, which would be something more like, I'm having this thing. I would really love it if you came. Let me know. Because here you're letting me know specifically that you're having a thing. You are giving a very specific invite to me. Let me know if you can come. I would love if you could come. Um, and yeah, I think that there's a big difference between you can if you want to, and I'd love it if you did. Don't be afraid to be specific. So, um, I think being specific when it comes to creating a space or hosting something is incredibly important. This is where you get to define your why. Why are you doing this? A lot of times we'll just stop at, well, I just want to bring people together. Okay, you just want to bring people together. Why? Because I haven't seen these people in a long time. Why? Like, just keep digging deeper, dig deeper. I haven't seen these people in a long time. Why? Because we've all been busy. Why? Because we all have jobs. Dig a little bit deeper, because those are going to be the things that kind of help you to get clearer on what it is that you're doing, on what it is that you want to provide, on what kind of space it is that you want to be create. I'm sorry, that you want to be creating. This is also going to help you to find your people. So when we first, actually, let me take it back a little bit. So when I first started the holding space, I created it because I wanted it to be an opportunity for people to gather and eat good food. I wanted people to be able to have conversation. I wanted people to be able to have an opportunity to socialize outside of bars and clubs and party culture. I do love all of those things, but at the moment, I was also craving to have spaces that allowed me to be social in different ways. Um, Hold on now, it's coming back to me. Yes. So I created the holding space. I specifically wanted this space to center Black people and people of color. And I was very specific about that. And those were the people that I got coming to the holding space. Now, fast forward to Craft and Key, I also wanted this to be something that was very specifically for Black people and people of color. And I specified that. I also made sure that when I was doing these events that I did, I used Black owned or POC owned spirits or products, because that felt very important to me. These are the things that are important to me. These are the types of people that I wanted to call in. Um, so getting very specific. But the one thing that was missing from every different thing that I did was that I always wanted to do something that also centered queer folks. And every time that I said that I wanted to do something that centered queer folks, I was discouraged from doing it. I was always told that I was going to limit my audience, that it was, yeah, that was the main thing that I was told, that it was going to limit my audience. Fast forward to today with Babe Wine Bar, where we have gotten very specific that we are creating this space for queer folks. And this has been the largest crowd that we have ever brought in, which we love. And even though we're talking all about intention, I don't know that I can say specifically that it was my intention to bring in this large of a crowd. But what I did do was find my people. So if you ever get a chance to come to Babe, you will see that there are a lot of Black people, people of color who specifically identify as queer. And I love that very much. Just swimming through a sea of my people who are drinking beautiful wines. It's what I love. So if you are looking to create a space, or if you are looking to host something in your home, don't be afraid to get specific, even when it comes down to your friend list and you're thinking about who's actually going to gel, who might not gel. Because I know a lot of times we want to mix our friends, and I think that's great. I think that's fine, but be intentional about how you're doing that. Find ways to make sure that everybody's going to gel, everybody's going to mix. Don't just bring everybody into a room and say, okay, have at it. Hope y'all like each other because y'all all like me. um, yes, just don't be afraid to get specific and to get very intentional about how you're bringing folks together. Um, okay, first we create, then we curate. So creating means to bring something into existence. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier when I was speaking on something, but a lot of times when we decide that we want to host something, we want to have an event, we want to have people over to the house, our first thought is just, well, I just want to bring people together. And that is great. That is beautiful. And that is a starting point. After we create, though, after we decide that this is the thing that I want to create, from there is where we start curating. Curating means to select, organize, and to look after. So this, again, we're hearing that word, intention. This is the part where you get very intentional about what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you want to do it. What are the things that feel special to you? What are the things that would make the space feel just more grand, or that would feed into whatever the purpose is of what you're doing? If the purpose of you hosting is because you just want to feed people, let it be smelling delicious and like food as soon as they come in the door. Let there be some type of visual of the food as soon as they come in the door, engaging them, letting them know that this is why you're here as soon as they get there. If the purpose of you gathering people is you just want to listen to some good music and sip some wine, have the music going when they get in the door. Pass them a glass of wine as soon as they come in the door. Engage folks immediately. And also, don't be afraid to curate things that engage all of the different senses. Smell is very important. What people hear is very important. What people feel. Okay, now I'm 30 plus. Okay. So when I'm thinking about what I feel, I want to feel something soft on my butt. I want to be able to sit somewhere. So I'm always going to be looking for a seat when I go outside. I don't care, even if I'm going to the club or if I'm at a party. Is there some place for me to sit? These are things that are very important to me. And then also, of course, we want to engage the palate. What are we translating to folks with what we have them put on their palate, with what they're drinking, with what they're eating? Start strong. So this I kind of already touched on just now when I was talking about curating. Engage your guest as soon as they come in the door. A lot of times when you go to event, like any kind of event, but for some reason I'm thinking very specifically of a corporate event. You go to a corporate event, the first thing they have you do is sign in or put your name on a name tag, which I'm not going to lie, honestly, I do often find that kind of annoying. But this is a moment of engagement because you're stopping, you're putting your name on this name tag. This is an opportunity for you to rub elbows or have a little chit chat with whoever is standing next to you who's also putting their name on a name tag. You put your name tag on, and maybe you turn to this person and you're like, I think this is so annoying, right? Now y'all have had an opportunity to strike up a conversation. Now, even if that is not the specific thing that happens in that moment, let's say you walk into the room, somebody's going to see your name tag. This gives them an opportunity to try to pronounce your name, or maybe they already know your name. Whatever it is, this is an opportunity for engagement. Now, my personal favorite way to engage people whenever they're coming to an event for me is to go ahead and have something ready for them to sip. And a top sip for me is almost always going to be bubbles. Okay. I love to have a little Prosecco or a little champagne at the door, or even if you want to do some type of like bubbly cocktail. I like bubbles specifically because there is something about the way that the bubbles and the alcohol interact with your system that kind of helps you to loosen up a little bit quicker. That's why a lot of times when you go to different events where they are serving wine or alcohol, the first thing that you'll see them going around the room with is champagne or Prosecco, something that's bubbly. Excuse me. And it is specifically for that reason. So, yes, engage folks as soon as they come in the door. Something that is not specific to bubbles or name tag. I'm just thinking about engagement in general from life experiences that I've had. If you've ever worked in retail, then you know that one of the top things that they tell you about folks coming into the store is that you need to engage them. They need to be greeted within the first 10 to 15 seconds of walking into the door. And this is something that I pay attention to, especially because I worked in retail. But even if you haven't worked in retail, think about the times that you walked into a store and nobody has greeted you. And very quickly, you're ready to be like, yeah, so I'm just going to leave because you don't feel welcome. So maybe it's not a matter of giving people name tags or handing them a glass of bubbly when they come into the door. It can also be a matter of just having someone there to say, hi, hello, I'm glad you're here, welcome. How can I help you? What are you looking for? Or just directing folks where to go. It's a very small touch, but it is something that makes a huge difference in the experience that people are going to have from the moment that they show up to your event, to your house, to whatever the thing is that you're doing. And then one more thing that I'll say, because I was talking about making a study guide for my students earlier. I have found I use this I use this in the classroom also. I have to engage my learners before they even walk into the door of my classroom, because if I don't, they are just very far gone. So I'm a very, very strong fan of engaging anyone from the moment that they walk into the door or before they even walk into the door, just to keep them on track of whatever it is that you're trying to create or whatever it is that you're trying to do with your space. Uh-oh. Okay. All right. Let's talk about you, the host. Okay. The first thing that I put up here, excuse me, the first thing that I put up here is don't be afraid to delegate. Do not be afraid to delegate. Please, 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 please do not be afraid to delegate. Okay. I feel like I have to say this so many times because I know from my own personal experience as a host, but then also from watching other people host, that it can be very hard sometimes to let other people do the things that need to get done. But trust me, it will make such a better experience for you and for your guests if you are willing to delegate tasks. You have to sit down, take a moment and think, what is it that actually needs your specific touch, your specific attention, and what is it that somebody else can do? You don't need to be folding all the napkins. You don't need to be wiping down the mirrors. You don't need to be sweeping the front porch. Things that do need your actual attention and your actual touch, number one is going to be your guest. And if you're too stressed out because you didn't want to delegate anything, you're not going to be able to show up for your guests the way that you want to. Don't be afraid to delegate. Okay. Even if that means sometimes that you're not able to be the one who does all of the food, don't be afraid to delegate. Look at some of these party platters. Call people in to make these party platters. Call your friend to make a party platter. Do some bartering. I'll do this for you. You do this for me. Whatever it is that you got to do. I'm not gonna harp on it for too much longer, but just y'all don't be afraid to delegate. Okay. My next point, keep your glasses on. Keep your glasses on. What do I mean by this? Read the room, honey. Read the room. Okay. As a host, you have got to keep your head on a swivel. You always need to be looking around, seeing what is going on, who needs something, who looks like maybe they're a little bit lonely and maybe they need somebody to talk to, who's looking like maybe they need a refill on their glass, who's got a dirty plate sitting in front of them. All of these different things, this is going to be your job as the host. Always be reading the room. And if it seems like the room is getting a little bit lazy, a little bit sleepy, but the night is not done, you need to head over there to that DJ or that playlist or whoever it is and get it turned up, honey. These are the things that are your responsibility. I know that you might be like, oh, this is my vibe. This is how I want this. Da, da, da. Okay, but if the people are sleepy and the people are not having as good a time as you're having, is it the vibe for the moment? These are the kinds of things that we have to be thinking about. Um, okay, and then this next point. I love look good, smell good, feel good. This is something that I learned from my grandmother. This is something that I also learned from my mother. And all of the times that I've ever seen them host, there's never been a time that I have seen them show up to the function or pop out when they're ready looking a mess. They always look good. They always smell good. They're always in high spirits. And that is important because why would you be at anything less than your best while you are bringing people into a space that you've created and curated for them when you want them to also be feeling their best and looking their best? This is not a vanity thing at all. This is about you providing a specific type of service, the service being you being a host and showing up in the role that you are supposed to be in. Take some time, slip off to the back, get yourself together, come back out, ready to go. It makes such a huge difference when you are hosting to be just on your P's and Q's, to be feeling your best. Even if on the inside you feel a little frantic, you feel a little, I don't know. It's okay. They don't got to know all that. They don't got to know all that. You just show up looking good, smelling good, feeling good. All right. Things that are important to not skimp on. Food. Food. Whenever I'm hosting something, I am always thinking about people need something on their stomach. This is also because a lot of times I'm hosting something that is going to involve some type of libation. But even if it doesn't involve a libation, I think that you should always have some type of food, some type of snack, some type of something to offer to folks when they come. Please, please, if you can, don't skimp on the food. Food is very important. I think that when I think about food, I often think about how we need food to actually nourish our bodies and to keep us alive. And so I think it's a very special thing to get to share food with people, to get to break bread with people, to offer people food, because to me, it's a little bit of like a prayer, something that says, I'm glad you're here. I want you to keep being here. I want you to have some nourishment for your body. We're going to keep surviving together. That's how I feel about food. So please, for me personally, I don't ever skip on food. I highly suggest don't ever skimp on the food. Libations and beverage. Now, I know that sometimes the libations and the beverage can get a little bit expensive, but I think that this is also one of the things that always need to be plentiful, especially if you're wanting to people to stay for the long haul, whether this is a big event that you're doing, whether this is like a smaller event that you're doing. Again, this can be something that you're doing on a large scale, something that you're doing in your home, but I think that libations and beverage should always be plentiful. And I'm going to tie this back into food because I'm always thinking about what is something that I might run short on that will cause people to want to leave. And if people are feeling like, I wish I had one more drink, but there's nothing left here, they're going to leave. If people are like, dang, I'm getting kind of hungry, y'all ready to go? They're going to leave. So these are two things that I always very much prioritize when it comes to hosting. Music. Do not underestimate the power of music. Having a little ambiance, something happening in the background makes a huge difference. Okay. Have you ever gone and sat in a restaurant and there's no music playing and you're just sitting there staring at the person across from you, or if you're by yourself, just staring at anybody else in the restaurant? It feels a little strange, right? For some reason, music just really helps to provide not just background noise, but it really does set the mood for the spaces that we create. Every place that I've worked in retail, I've worked in aviation, I've worked in food and beverage. There is always music, and that is for a reason. That is because they are setting a mood, they are setting the scene. A lot of big corporations and big companies actually have psychologists working behind the scenes of the music that they're playing for you. This is how big and important music is when it comes to the spaces that you're creating. Okay. So even if you don't bring a DJ in, put on a cute little playlist, let it vibe, let it ride. Let's see. Seating and comfort. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think seating and comfort are always going to be very important. Actually, everything that I put on this list are all things that I think are really important. These are all things that if you don't have enough of it, or if you don't have enough of it, or if it's not right, folks will leave. Okay. So want to make sure that everybody is having the best time that they possibly can. Again, I'm 30 plus. So I'm always looking for a seat. I'm always looking for some place to sit. I always want to be in spaces that feel comfortable. Um, and when you're hosting, again, it's not always about the number of people, it's more so about the quality of people. And if you want to invite every single person that you know, but your space is not big enough for that, you may want to reconsider. Okay. Because people are going to appreciate being comfortable in the space than they are, people are going to appreciate more so being comfortable in the space than they are going to feel, than they are being crowded in the space. Let's see, scenery. So when I talk about scenery, I'm just talking about kind of just setting things up to be beautiful, to be welcoming. If you're hosting something in your home, you may want to consider how the furniture is set up. Is it going to be easy for people to move around? Is it set up in a way where people will feel encouraged to have conversation with each other? If there's certain spaces in the house that you don't necessarily want people going into, is there a way that you could kind of block those spaces off without it being so obvious by just the way that you arrange the furniture? You can have the furniture actually communicate a lot about the room and about the space if you're doing things in your home. If you're doing things in a bigger venue, you can also consider similar things. Something else that I always find very important when I'm doing any kind of event, when I'm doing any kind of hosting, I always want there to be flowers present. And it may seem like a very small gesture, but it actually makes a pretty big difference. If you've ever been at a restaurant and during the day the table is clear, they maybe just have the like condiment caddies out there on the table, but then when that certain hour hits and they lower the lights and they start bringing out those little tea lights and they start bringing out the little flowers, it makes a difference, right? It's something that seems so small, but you're kind of like, oh, I'm in the same place, but am I in the same place, right? So I think that's having flowers or making sure that the lighting is right, setting up the furniture in a certain way. These things are very important when you're hosting. Another reason that I also really love having flowers when I do events is because I had a friend once who told me that they liked doing flowers at events because it always felt like an offering to the space and an offering to the people who were coming into the space, an offering of beauty. And I never forgot that. And so for pretty much every event that I've ever done, I always make sure that there are flowers. And then lastly, archiving. Archiving is so important, y'all. It is so important. When we used to do our events at the house growing up, my grandmother always made sure there was someone taking pictures and always made sure that there was someone videoing. And as a child, I didn't really understand why she thought that that was so important for every single time. I'm like, we're literally doing this all the time for every single holiday. For all of my life, we've been doing this, and we are always getting video and we're always getting pictures. But I understand it now. I understand it now because it's important to be able to look back on your progress, to also be able to look back and see, have the memories. And also, it's important for us to be able to tell our stories. and to see what it looks like for us to gather, um, to see what it looks like for us to have these special and sacred spaces that we create for ourselves and that we create for each other. I spent some time over the summer actually digitizing some of my family's home videos. And this is what actually made me really appreciate the fact that we had these things, because it was it was nostalgic for me, but it also was history. This is my family's story, and my family is Black, and nobody in our town was doing anything like what my grandmother was doing when she did this. And it felt like history. It felt like Black history. It felt like part of our local culture and local history. And I'm able to look at those photos and those videos and see a lot of similarities and things that I learned from then into now. And so archiving, I just think, is very important. I also have friends who actually work professionally as archivists, and they will tell you how important it is for us to record our stories, because if we don't have any record of our stories, they will erase us. And we all know that that is very true. All right. And I think that's it. That is it for the evening. Happy to take any questions if y'all have any questions about hosting specifically or creating spaces specifically, down to answer. You can unmute yourself, or you can drop it in the chat, which let me check the chat because I know I'm also going to go ahead and take this screen down.
Hey Trent, it's Nick. I have a question.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, so sorry I was late, but I did get some great details at this tail end. You mentioned, sometimes we want to invite everybody, and that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I struggle with when I'm hosting. I normally do a holiday brunch at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to invite all the people in the world. And so I have trouble with two things. A, paring it down.
Mm-hmm.
So advice on how to choose and curate that list. But also, sometimes people don't show up, like they don't
Mm-hmm.
RSVP. So I'm left cooking all of this food and ordering all of this stuff, and then they don't show. So
Mm-hmm.
what is your advice on those two topics?
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So the two topics is how to get your list down, and
Yes.
then also how to kind of mitigate the issue of people RSVPing and not showing up, or people not
Both.
RSVPing and not showing up.
RSVPing and not showing up
Okay.
or just not showing up. I usually deal with it. I just don't invite you to nothing else.
I mean, listen, that is a solution.
But I feel like there has to be a better way.
I think that when it comes to, so most of the time, I know that as far, and okay, what am I trying to say here? Commercially, when it comes to what you can expect as far as RSVPs, if you have 100 people RSVP, you can expect 25 to 50 people to actually show up. So that is just kind of a rule of thumb that I think of, even when it comes to doing things that are not commercial, because life happens, or people are going through things, or just, whatever the reason is. People might RSVP, they might not, and they might not be able to show up. So I just always anticipate that if I have invited 10 people over to my house, I'm probably going to be expectant that 5 to 6 people will show up, but I'm still going to prepare for 10. I'm still going to prepare for 10. Now, in your case, I'm not sure exactly how many people you would be expecting versus how many people actually do show up. But what I like to do is always have to go trays for folks, because I'm not gonna eat all of that food. I do enjoy my cooking, but if I prepared a meal for 20 people and 7 people showed up, I don't have the belly to eat, what's that? 13 people's worth of food? Whatever, we can all do the math here. I don't have the belly to eat that much. So I will oftentimes just encourage people to take to-go plates by just already having them ready for folks to take. And then when it comes to paring the list down, I would say think about why you're inviting the different people. I don't think that you were in here when I was talking about how oftentimes we want to mix friend groups. And I think that that's great. But I think also sometimes it's okay for us to think about who's actually going to mesh, who's actually going to gel, and who has a reason to be connecting, right? We create these spaces and we want to gather people, we want to bring people together, but let's also think about the value of the connection and the opportunity for people to, be able to connect in ways that are outside of the space, right? If you're like, these two people will make great friends, or I know that this person sells fabric and this person loves making quilts. So these would be two people who would be really great to bring in. Like you can also think in those kinds of ways of people who would have reasons to be connecting even outside of the space. Thank you, Sarah. Is that helpful, Nick?
Yes, that is helpful.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All right. Well, y'all have my contact. If you ever want to reach out, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on email. I'm not going to hold you. Instagram might be easier because email is a little overwhelming for me at times. But feel free to reach out anytime. And I really appreciate y'all again for coming and sharing your. Oh, Susan, you have a question. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Let's see. Um, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can unmute it for you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, earlier on you spoke about texting. You used the
Mm-hmm.
example of texting to invite people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm of the generation where that was not what you did. You
Mm-hmm.
either, I mean, forgive me, you send emails or evites, or even you use the mail and you send invitations.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to stay ahead of what people are doing socially.
Mm-hmm.
Is texting the best way to invite people? It seems kind of impersonal to me.
Well, I use I'm actually really glad that you brought this up. So I use the example of the text more so just to make a point about what feels impersonal and what feels personal when it comes to inviting someone to something. So for that kind of text I would send if it was like we're going to a movie or we're going out to eat, like not I'm hosting an event. When it comes to hosting an event, I agree with you that using email or doing some kind of personal outreach, like sending things in the mail, are definitely more personal and still are touches that I think go further than just sending a text message. I love still sending things in the mail, even if it's just like a little thank you note or just thinking of you letters. Now, something that folks have been using that can be sent out via text there are these different apps and websites where you can create virtual invitations. So you would send it through a text message. The one that I've seen people use the most is called Partiful. You create the event online or you create it in the app, and you then send the link to the person to let them know that you're having this thing. But when it pops up in their inbox, in their text inbox, it's not just a regular text message. It actually looks like a little card invitation. And so then you would click on the link and it's got all of the information. You can RSVP yes or no there. You can get it added onto your calendar from there. And I think that those kinds of invitations are great. But I also, even when I send out a particle, will follow up with a phone call or a text or an email or some sort, just to say, hey, just want to make sure that you got this. Are you going to be able to make it? Can you RSVP by this time?
And that's Partiful,
Mm-hmm.
Partiful.
Mm-hmm.
Is it free?
Yes.
I like free.
It's free and it's really cute.
Okay. And just one more question, if you've got time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm I'm a part of a committee, and we're hosting a neighborhood event
Mm-hmm.
for family. So there'll
Okay.
be children there as well as adults. So I was trying to apply some of your principles to what we might be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, have you ever hosted something where you have a mixed audience like that, where you have children doing children things, and then we wanted to engage family to interact together. We wanted the neighbors to interact with each other. So have you ever done anything with such a complex?
I'm trying to think. In my adult life, so I've been a part of things like that when I worked in fundraising, but I wasn't necessarily curating events at that point in time. I think that especially when it comes to the children being present, there is, and I guess this kind of goes back into the engaging from the moment that they walk in the door. But when it comes to the children, it doesn't necessarily have to be something of um, engaging them with actually yes, I would say when it comes to kids, they probably are the easiest to engage from the moment that they arrive, whether you're instructing them like, hey, there's this activity going on over here if you want to go join that, or if there's some type of little getting to know you thing that they can do from the moment that they walk in the door. There's lots of really cute get to know you sheets and activities that I have found online for, for my classroom. That would be fun, but I think that keeping the children engaged is probably going to like also lead to some relief for the parents to actually be able to enjoy the event as well.
Okay, that's helpful. I think I can pull it off. I have some ideas. I like the idea of name, not the formal name
Mm-hmm.
tags, but since it's a fall event, it's sort of a fall celebration. I was thinking this might sound cheesy, but instead of having traditional name tags, just have little pumpkins or something and let the person choose if they want to write their name on a pumpkin and wear it during the event. But
I like that. I think that's really cute. I like that. I'm also thinking, is there some kind of way to tie that into a pumpkin patch theme or some idea? Like what is the theme pumpkin or it's like just the fall?
it's fall into fall. That's what I
Okay.
call it.
No, I
Um,
like that.
so it's the colors and the leaves and the smells and all of that, cider and popcorn. Just just a little background. Our community, um, it's a wonderful community. There are seniors, and then there are people still having babies. So
Uh-huh.
we have a cross section of ages. And the purpose, kind of getting back to the why, the purpose is to engage our community and find a sense of togetherness,
Mm-hmm.
because we haven't had a social committee to put this much energy into making sure every neighbor was touched in some way when possible. So that's the intent, is to get people out to say, hey, this is where I live, these are the people, and just make sure that they're good vibes.
You know what else I just thought of, Susan, as you were saying that? I think something that would feed into what it is that y'all are doing. People really enjoy a bingo card. And this is something that it wouldn't be just for the children. Everybody could do this, but you know, it's a card where you could have like different slots where you have to find someone has the same who has the same favorite color as you, or shares a birthday month with you, or someone who wears glasses, because this is also an opportunity for people to ask each other's names, and especially for adults, because most of the time they're not going to just say, oh, well, what's your name, let me just write it down. You know, adults love to start yapping. And so that would be a perfect opportunity for folks to interact with each other within an activity.
Okay.
So that could be a really fun thing to give out to folks when they first come in. And maybe, I don't know if y'all have like, if y'all would have a budget for this, but it could be really cool, like that folks get a prize, some kind of prize or something when they have filled out their card.
Oh yeah. I don't know what it is about finding things. People love to find things and then get a reward for it. So
Right.
um, that's a great idea. I'll see how we can incorporate it.
Mhm.
Uh, all right. Well, I appreciate your ideas and your thoughts.
Yeah.
And really happy that your grandmother left you such a legacy.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anybody else have a question for me? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodnight. If nobody has any other questions, y'all can reach out to me anytime on Instagram, send me an email, whatever it is, but I'm available. And again, I thank y'all for coming out and sharing your Wednesday evening with me. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
Bye.